and informative.
Thank you for joining us on the News Machine, the hottest news magazine show on radio. We are reaching you from Hot FM stations in Lagos on 93.3 FM, Hot FM Abuja 98.3 FM, and Hot FM Owerri 99.5 FM. 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. I am Otobong Nkanta. This morning on the News Machine, Ipman denies extortion allegation against tanker drivers, dismisses planned strike. Olubadan suspends Egungun festival over violence. Tanker crushes hawker to death in Lagos, multiple accident. And police parade father for selling his 3 children for 1.5 million naira. We will also be linking up for the voices in the news. The News Machine will be back after these messages.
Now you can get your news on. Hot, fresh, exciting, and exclusive. The News Machine.
Reaching you at the same time in Lagos, Abuja, and Owerri. 3 states for the price of 1. Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m.
The News Machine. More than just news.
Hot FM.
We are more than just radio.
Welcome back to the News Machine. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has asked 8 members to join a proposed strike over alleged extortion by petroleum tanker drivers. The association, in a statement, refuted allegations of extortion of 200,000 naira against the tanker drivers. It also urged the federal government to grant 8 members licenses to import petroleum products. IPMAN, in the statement signed by its National Secretary John Kekeocha, described the allegation as false, adding that it was aware of the monies given to drivers as dispatches where loading expenses are done. He noted that such money was mutual and has not raised eyebrows in IPMAN's relationship with the PTDs and the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers. The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Obalekan Balogun, has directed the suspension of the ongoing Egungun festival over reported cases of violence, arson, and looting of shops. A statement issued in Ibadan by the Olubadan's personal assistant on media, Mr. Oladele Ogunshola, said the atrocities were perpetrated by some hoodlums hiding under the cover of the Egungun festival in Ibadan. Olubadan equally summoned all the leaders of masquerade known as Alagba in Ibadan land to an emergency meeting this Monday afternoon at the ancient Aliwo Palace, Agodi in Ibadan. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oberevori has decried the killing of a 2-year-old boy by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Delta Command, at Okpanam area of the state. The 2-year-old pre-nursery school pupil, Ivan Omakebobe, was accidentally killed by a stray bullet from NDLEA operatives chasing suspected drug dealers in the area last Thursday. The governor said the tragic incident was regrettable and called for speedy probe. Meanwhile, the NDLEA has said it was investigating the incident. Officers of the Rivers State Police Command have arrested a man identified as Michael Charles for selling his 3 children for 1.5 million naira. Michael, who was said to be taking advantage of his wife's disabilities, reportedly perpetrated the act of selling the children. At the parade of some suspects of the GRA police station, Michael said he sold his 5-year-old child, 2-year-old, and a day-old for 700,000 naira, 500,000 naira, and 350,000 naira respectively. Michael blamed the economic hardship for his action, saying he was unable to take care of the children.
I no get money, property. Shishi, I no get. If you see me, you see I no get money.
She give you money?
No give me money. You give me 7 months to go to come back. Say I go for 7,000 to come back.
We don't understand that part. You say what happened?
I carry the pikin give for new baby nurse to take care of that pikin for 7 months. 7 years. After the 7 years, I go take her and collect the money, take the pikin back, give her the money back.
How much?
Uchechi.
How much did they pay for Uchechi?
How much they increase Uchechi? 700 now. 700,000. As I go, I'm people collect the money from my hand.
Okay.
A member of the child trafficking syndicate, Nelson Bernard, explains his role in the deal.
He said he cannot take care of the baby. I said, I said, the first money you take, what did you do this for? He said he's a family that he bought land, he farmed, this and that. I said, okay. Now I connected a woman who is by name Chioma. On that very day, I told Michael, I said, I have seen a woman. He told me to take them to the place, which I took Michael, including his wife, where the wife put to bed. And the woman received the baby and gave us money, and I paid Michael 500,000. Now, that was, the money was 1.5, and I gave Michael 500. So when the woman settled us, me, Michael, and his wife, they came back to the house and left. So suddenly on Tuesday, I saw Michael with policemen. They came to my clinic and arrested me.
Anele Chioma is a suspected child trafficker.
He called me that there was one man called Michael that wanted to give his baby out for adoption. If I have somebody that will adopt the baby, I say, okay, let me check that. I will call him back. After some hours, I call him that, yes, I have found somebody. The man, Bernard, came with Michael Charles, with his wife, to my place. That day they came, his wife was already in labor. I called Michael, asked him, are you aware of this thing? He said yes. I asked him, how many children do you have? He said 2. I asked him, why do you want to give this one out for adoption? He said he don't have anything to train the other one, that he wants to give it out so that he will use the money and train the other 2.
Okay, now they say they won't give her the child for adoption, so I collect the child. Now woman, I give them 700,000.
700,000 for male or for female?
Female child.
For male, uncle?
I no collect any male, now only one.
Meanwhile, the mother-in-law of Michael Charles explained that before the arrest, the suspect had been lying to her that her grandchildren, especially the last child, died after birth.
Simborn no contact me. One man from really contact me say whether I know that my daughter born. I said no, I said born. So I run, go there. I see the man. Because that's my daughter, not talk. I look me, I say, man say, don't born, the Pekin don't die. Every day Pekin don't die. The first one die, this one die. Nothing be this. So I tell him, say, make him come show me the place where he buried the person. Let me talk to run. Do like this. I can't hope that. Where my children? Because my daughter know the talk, and so they do it like that.
The State Police Public Relations Officer SP Grace Iringe Koko, while parading the child trafficking syndicate, said their arrest was based on the revelation of 2 suspects who were earlier arrested.
Arrest of suspected child traffickers. Operative attached to the CP monitoring unit on Saturday, July 8, 2023 at about 5 p.m. based on the revelation of 2 suspects earlier arrested in a case of child trafficking, extended investigation to Umodelga in Emoa local government area in Rivers State and Obaka in Imbitolu local government area in Imo State, where they arrested the due of Indubisi Iberi male and Indubisi Wosu male at Umodelga and one Chioma Anele female at Obako. Indubisi Iberi and Indubisi Wosu confessed to receiving one of the babies, which they later handed over to Honorable Regina Aka, female at Rumukpoku in Port Harcourt. Honorable Regina was also arrested and admitted to contacting one Favor Amele, female at Alu, where the baby was sold in the presence of Michael Charles, the father of the children.
The police command public relations officer noted that both the 2-year-old and the baby earlier sold have been recovered, adding that investigations is continuing to recover the 5-year-old. Now it's time to get the trendy stories from the News Machine studios at Hot FM 98.3 Abuja. Let's hook up with more news coming from the nation's capital.
Good morning. Presidential candidate of Labour Party in 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has said he hoped Nigerian leaders in the nearest future would be those with authentic academic certificates with recognition from their classmates. Obi said this as he decried people busy celebrating leaders with criminal past at the expense of those who have excellent education and worthy careers. He said he was still determined to change course of the country if availed of the opportunity to lead. Obi spoke in Abuja while delivering a keynote address at the graduation ceremony of students of Pacesetters Academy and maintained that Nigeria cannot develop without education, adding that the country must first invest in education. Obi, who insisted that his presidential ambition was alive, said in the next Nigeria, one will not be a leader unless he or she attended school, unless the individual knows the classmates and has a good certificate. Coalition of Northern Group CNG has called on the federal government to disregard the renewed calls for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The CNG, in a statement by its spokesman, Abdulaziz Suleiman, said this became necessary following renewed attacks in the southeast and the return of the sit-at-home order. It said it has carefully watched and studied the events and actions being perpetrated against the Nigerian state with considerable restraint and maturity. It added that the resurgence of agitations and disturbances that have been ongoing ceaselessly since the inception of the current administration of President Tinubu are aimed at discrediting the government. The northern groups added that the federal government must resist what it describes as campaign using Kanu's release as a precondition for sustainable peace in the land and to remain resolute in seeing through its persecution. And that's all from the News Machine studio at Hot FM Abuja. Over to Lagos.
Alright, let's link up with the News Machine studios at Hot FM 99.5 Owerri for the trending news happening in the southeastern part of the country.
Good morning and welcome to our News Machine studios in Owerri. The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, has approved a new minimum wage for workers in Imo State of 40,000 naira. The governor, in his address to the State Executives Council and other key stakeholders in the state in Owerri over the weekend, said that the move is geared towards cushioning the biting effect of the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government.
There shall be an immediate upward review of salaries and wages of workers in the state. The minimum wage is hereby raised to 40,000 naira with the discretionary consequential adjustments of other levels. This is because your salaries will be able not only to take you home but also provide your basic necessities to enable you make ends meet.
The Ohanaeze Ndigbo Socio-Cultural Organization has urged President Bola Tinubu to declare a state of emergency over the sit-at-home order in the southeast. Ohanaeze said declaring a state of emergency would send a strong signal to the southeast governors who would now be compelled to find a lasting solution to the order. Reacting, Ohanaeze's Secretary General Okechukwu Ishiguzoro said the body would not allow Simon Ekpa to destroy the economic activities of the southeast. That's all from the News Machine studios at Hot FM Owerri. Back to our studios in Lagos for the rest of the news. I am Ifeyunwa Nwanna.
You are listening to the News Machine, reaching you from our stations in Lagos, Abuja and Owerri, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. Let's hear what correspondent Nessa Sani has for us on Voices in the News.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio hailing President Tinubu on removal of petrol subsidy.
I want to plead with you, distinguished senators, to permit me to offer special commendations to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for the bold step he has so far taken, particularly in the issue of subsidy. If it requires legislative backing, we shall give. We must begin to produce own fuel in Nigeria. We must begin to encourage production of diesel and others in this country. And of course, if the stories so far are true, that we used to have 69 million barrels a month, and we are now having about 13 or 15 million barrels, that will show that we were subsidizing or the consumption going on in our neighboring countries, with which we can no longer continue with our very lean resources. So we applaud the federal government for such steps.
Remember, you can listen to more episodes of The News Machine and watch videos of news stories online at hotfm.ng. And that's all we have for you on today's package of The News Machine. Thank you for listening and do have a lovely day ahead. Good morning.